أبونا بشوي كان ليه كلمة تلخص ليه أبونا بشوي حاجة فريدة، يعني حاجة يونيك. كان ليه كلمة يقولها، ودي اللي كان بيعملها. كان بيقول الناس مش محتاجة تسمع عن المسيح، الناس محتاجة تشوف المسيح.
الفضل برضو يرجع لأبونا أنطونيوس حنين، وهو أول كاهن قبطي يترسم على لوس أنجلوس. واجه مشكلات كتيرة هنا مختلفة في طبيعتها عن المشاكل في أي كنيسة في مصر. ما كانش فيه كمان أسقف كان أو حد بيقدر إن هو يرتب ويشوف ترتيب الكنيسة ونظام الكنيسة، كان لوحده وفي كنايس كتير. أنا لغاية النهاردة ساعات يجيلي مكالمات من ولايات تانية ويقولوا لي إحنا ما ننساش أبونا أنطونيوس، سواء إن هو راح زار الولايات دي وصلى فيها أول قداسات، سواء وصلت لهم عظات وهو كان يهتم بالناحية التعليمية، عظات وسي دي وإيميلز كان يبعتها ليهم، وفي ناس ما شافوهوش لكن اتلمذوا وتعلموا على ايديه.
أبونا أنطونيوس هو إنسان كان يتمتع بذكاء عالي جدا ومحبته للدراسة، وعنده جلد كبير جدا لأن هو يعني يصل إلى الأهداف بتاعته بصبر وطولة بال وطولة روح. استغل كل هذه الإمكانيات الخاصة به لخدمة الكنيسة ولخدمة شعب الكنيسة.
And after he came, he always went for classes about something or another. At first, classes in English, so he can improve his language. And then when he became a priest, he took classes in psychology, so he would understand the children and the family dynamics. He also went to Claremont College, a graduate school of religion, and he had a master's degree in Old Testament in 1993.
الميزة اللي في نبيل حنين أو في أبونا أنطونيوس حنين نقطة ربما كثير من الخدام أو رجال الكهنوت بيتجاهلوها، وهي النمو في التعلم، مش في التعليم، النمو في التعلم. محب باستمرار يتعلم. لن أنسى لي في يوم من الأيام كنت وقتها جاي زائر لكاليفورنيا، فباخد منه ميعاد عشان أجيله البيت أنا وتسوني، فقال لي ما يهمش، احنا معانا ميعاد أنا وتسوني رايحين ميعاد، يا تيجي بعد ما احنا نروح. قلت له ميعاد ايه؟ قال لي احنا بناخد درس انجليزي. قلت له ابونا ده انت وانت نبيل انجليزيك كان فلوينت. قال لي لا، انا وانت ليك حوالي اكتر من 20 سنة كاهن وعايش وسط الولاد وحبوب وسطيهم تعرف لغتهم. قال لي لازم الولاد يحسوا ان انا دايما في ديفلوبت حتى في اللغة، ما يحسش ان انا مجرد الحاجات اللي عرفتها في مصر او لما جيت هنا كام سنة، لكن طول ما انا عايش في امريكا بخدم لابد ان انا ابقى يعني متجاوب مع تقدم اللغة مش بس الكالتشر.
He had a love of learning, and especially patristics. He really held highly the work of our church fathers. I think he really captured the essence of what we like to say in that what Christ taught, the apostles preached, and the church fathers kept. And so he really, that was his motto. And whenever he delivered his homilies, and even though English still was a hard thing for him to do, he would still read the church fathers' commentary on the scriptures, and he would deliver that message to us because he knew how important for us to preserve the teachings of the one true faith. And if he heard anything that was outside of the doctrine of the church, he was quick to point it out so that no heresy would infiltrate in the church. So he was very good in regards to keeping the one pure, true faith.
He was always learning, not just formal, but also informal. He was always reading. He had a library that's unmatched, like more than 1,000 books, mainly of the fathers of the church. And so his sermons were deep. It evokes you to think and understand the Coptic and Orthodox theology and writings from the early fathers. And that was the base of his sermons and later on for his internet outreach.
وطبعا أول ما حتى تسوني تريز لما تقابلني أول ما أروح أزورها تقول لي تحب تشوف المكتبة بتاعت أبونا، لأنه كنت حتى وأنا لما كنت في أي كنيسة من كنايس كاليفورنيا، لأن يعني كذا كنيسة خدمت فيها، فكنت دايما أروح لأبونا أنطونيوس وأنا طبعا جاي من مصر، بقعد فترة وغالبا سنة ولا أقل شوية ولا أكتر شوية وأرجع. فكانت المكتبة بتاعتي هي إن أنا أروح أدخل مكتبة أبونا أنطونيوس في بيته وأخد الكتب اللي أنا عايزها، سواء كان ترجع أو ما ترجعش. فمكتبة أبونا كانت معروفة لدي جدا، وهي طبعا يعني باستمرار أحس إن أنا مديون لهذا العمل، لأنه كان ده المكان اللي أنا فيه أستريح وأقدر أكمل مشواري.
أول ما جيت هنا أبونا، أنا ما كنتش بخدم في مصر، أبونا كلمني وقال لي أنت تروح تخدم في فانتورا. أبونا ما خدمتش خالص. قال لي تروح أنت مدرس، مش أنت مدرس؟ قلت له أنا مدرسة. قال لي ممكن تنقل المعلومات تروح. فمن اللحظة دي أبونا ابتدى يشجعني ويفهمني ويعلمني إزاي أكون خادم، بحيث إن كل وقت عندي سؤال، عندي أي حاجة في العقيدة كنت أوصل لأبونا وأقول له دي بتتحل إزاي، دي بتتفهم إزاي. وكان عنده صبر عميق جدا وطويل جدا إنه يقعد معايا ويفهمني ودي كذا ودي كذا ودي كذا. وأنا بدين له بالحتة دي لحد النهاردة، إن كل المعلومات بتاعتي كانت عن طريق أبونا، لأن أنا لما جيت الكنيسة ما كانش عندي معلومات كتيرة، ولما ابتديت أخدم ما كانش عندي معلومات كتيرة أيضا. بس أبونا بقى بالتدريج خدني بالتدريج كده واحدة 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 لحد ما فهمني واداني البركات دي إن أنا أخدم، وبعدين أصبح أمين الخدمة. ودي يعني مسؤولية كبيرة جدا ربنا اداها لي ببركة أبونا أنطونيوس.
And at that time, Abuna Antonious was trying to help the church by all means. And they tried by all means, the committee of the church, they tried to rent for him, for us, an apartment, but he refused. He said, no, the church still a small one. The people of the church, they are a smaller community. And he said, no, myself and Therese will stay in the church itself.
خدمته الأولانية الحقيقة كان عايش في الكنيسة نفسها، كانت الكنيسة الصغيرة. الدور الأرضي كان واخده أبونا أنطونيوس، كان عايش فيه ساكن فيه، وكان الدور العلوي هو الكنيسة اللي كنا بنصلي فيها.
Sharing the bathroom, the same bathroom with the people, the same bathroom with the church as the church, and he stayed in the same room for 7 years, and he stayed there for 7 years. but it was a blessing.
وكان في الدور السفلي برضو عامل مطبعة. المطبعة دي الحقيقة كان دايما يشتغل فيها، وكان دايما مطبعة من النوع القديم قوي، فكانت دايما كلها حبر، وكان دايما كلها يعني كان دايما تلاقي أبونا أنطونيوس دايما قاعد في المكتبة دي أو قاعد في المطبعة تحت عمال يشتغل الحقيقة ويطبع حاجات للكنيسة.
He liked to print a magazine for the church, and he established a magazine for the church. He established a calendar, and he liked to print newsletter and publication. He prints by himself in the print shop because he wants to save every penny for the church.
ما كانش عنده كل حاجة بتاعته كان للكنيسة، ما كانش في أي حاجة ليه شخصيا طبعا، لا كان في بيت ولا كان في أي حاجة، كان ساكن في الكنيسة وكان كل حاجة من ليه للكنيسة.
Saturday he has to make teaching in the church, for the Bible teaching, for the rights of the church, for the traditions of the church. So the Saturday in the church or Sunday, it was lessons every time.
النقطة الثانية أبونا كان مركز عليها في مدارس الأحد إن عايز الأولاد تملي يعرفوا التسبيحة. يقول لك الوعظ بتاع دوت الالحان التانية دي، الترنيمات التانية دي ملهاش معنى جامد يعني، مش كل منها فيها معاني روحية، لكن التسبيحة فيها معاني روحية وفيها نبوات وفيها تفاسير كتيرة للقديسين. فكان باستمرار يركز على مدارس احد ويعلموهم التسبيحة، علموهم الترانيم الروحية ديت، دي هتفضل معاهم اكتر من الترانيم التانية.
كان يديهم واحد بيعصر نفسه عشان يديهم. عشان كده الشباب كانوا بيحبوا الكنيسة بشكل، فالجيل الأولاني كانوا بيحبوا، صغيرين وكبار. كانت العشية دي تبقى مليانة زي ما بتبقى يوم الحد. كان يحضر، محدش يمشي إلا بورقة مطبوعة it's printed بالألوان، مش بأبيض واسود، مطبوعة بالألوان. كانوا ييجوا دراسة.
He was a friend of my father for a long time. He knew him from Egypt. And I happened to come on vacation one summer, and he asked me to stay with him, so I spent the summer with him and Therese, and I got to know them, of course, a lot better. And he convinced me to come back, and he actually, a funny story, he wanted my father to come to the United States, and he had said, if you like it here, why don't you go and convince Abu Ibrahim to come? So when I went home, I was still in college in engineering school. I asked my dad, what if we go to the United States? And my dad said, absolutely not. Don't even think about it. And a few weeks later, Shenouda called him and he said, they bought a new church in Los Angeles, St. George, and they asked for you to go. And my dad knew, of course, this was God's will, so he agreed. So we ended up coming, and of course, our relationship with Abu Antonius became even stronger. He then became also our father of confession. Gina and I, my wife and I, we started spending more time with him, sharing with him our struggles with our children, and he shared with us as well his vision for people like us who have children who were born in the United States and what we need to do for them.
Father Antonious had no children, but he considered all the children of the church as his own. And you can see this in his treating them like the parents come and kiss his hand. The children, after they kiss his hand, he gave them a hug. And so they felt the love that's unlimited. And that endeared him to them. And so when they came for confession, they really opened to him. And so he saw what is within them. And that was very helpful in communicating with the parents about the issues and the problems of the children, especially that the parents were first-generation Egyptians with kind of Egyptian mentality, while the kids, second generation with American mentality. So he was able to bridge the gap between the parents and the children. And that was very helpful in counseling and in serving both the young and the old.
أنا كنت باستمرار أقول لأبونا عايزين نعمل قداسات بالإنجليزي عشان الولاد، وأبونا كان لسه في الوقت دوت يعني ما كانش جاهز يعمل قداس بالإنجليزي، لكن دي من ضمن الصعوبات. ومن ضمن الصعوبات التانية انسجام الناس مع تقاليد أبونا، إن الكنيسة لازم تكون كذا وكذا، وفي ناس كتير كانت بتشمئز من دي بتزعل منه، إن هو حازم عاوز الكنيسة تبقى كوايت وعاوز الكنيسة تبقى كذا وحافظ على الطقس، وكان بتزعل من الكلام الصح دوت. فدي من ضمن الصعوبات اللي كان أبونا، لكن بنعمة المسيح لأنه هو كان ماشي صح، كل الناس فيما بعد ابتدت تحس إن هو صح ولازم المفروض نسمع الكلام. بالنسبة للغة أبونا زي ما أنت عارف راح بعد كده مدرسة وكان بيعمل ماجستير، واللغة بتاعته بقت بيرفكت فيما بعد، وابتدى بعد كده هو يعمل الوعظة الإنجليزي. وده من ضمن الحاجات اللي هو عمل لها ادجستمنت للمجتمع الأمريكاني، إن الولاد هنا عايزين إنجليزي. فابتدى بعد كده يوعظ الوعظات بالإنجليزي، وكان يعني كان عظيم جدا فيها.
أبونا أنطونيوس took care of the youth, and he spent his time to study with them the rites of the church, which is طقس الكنيسة, and the traditions of the church, the Bible, and it took a lot of his time to study with them.
He was very playful. He can be silly. He had an accent that we used to love to hear and to make fun of, and he was very good about relating to us, even though he didn't take any child psychology classes. He didn't have any child development classes, but he knew how to put himself at the level of the young people. And we were the first group that he raised in the church, probably in 1974. He would give sermons in English, even though it was hard for him because English was his second language, but we understood his sermons. They were simple. They hit home for all of us. And he would use examples that really related to us.
On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that belonged to the church, and that belonged to Abuna Antonious. And we devoted all of our weekends, almost 100% of our weekends, to Abuna. As we grew older, the time we spent in church increased more and more, where we were spending weekdays as well in church with Abuna. So he raised me like a father. And one of the things that I found very unique about this is just like when any parent raises you, there are things you agree with, things you disagree with. Sometimes you get mad at them, sometimes you're very happy with them. But thinking back, I don't recall that ever happening with Abuna Antonious. At all times, he seemed to be able to teach us lessons in ways where we completely agreed and were never upset or unhappy.
We would be on a picnic, for example, and Abuna Antonious, you can witness him jumping rope with some of the little girls, or we would have a discussion and he would sit on the floor with us and talk to us. We can see him riding a bike even in his cassock. So he really was able to come to the level of the youth, and for that everybody just embraced him.
Father Antonious of blessed memory really epitomized spiritual fatherhood in really every sense of the word. My most vivid memories of Abuna Antonious were those times that we would spend one-on-one. He had this tenderness about him, a warmth of spirit. Just his presence was healing. But at the same time, he was always convicting, always challenging me, as well as all of his other spiritual children, I know, to focus on our discipline in growing spiritually. He had this candor, this openness with us. That made him very approachable. He wasn't at all difficult to reach or difficult to connect with.
My wife is not Egyptian. She grew up in New York. Her parents are from the Philippines, and she grew up in New York. So when we decided that we were thinking about getting married, one of the things is she had to start learning about my religion and converting to Coptic Orthodox. It was somewhat easier for her because she grew up Catholic. We found a few priests in New York that she sat with for many months. When she finished, she came out and said, I'm confused. I'm confused about your religion. I'm confused now about my religion. I'm confused about everything. And I said, well, you just have to sit with them more and we'll get through this and we'll figure it out. She happened to come visit me at that time, and I decided to take her to visit with Abuna Antonious and Tesoni Tres, and Abuna invited us to his house. He said hi to me in his joking manner. And then I sat with Tesoni and Teresa, my wife, sat with Abuna for the next, 2 to 3 hours, if I remember correctly. So we went home and everything was fine. And today when I asked her how she felt about that meeting, she said that immediately she saw how kind he was, how caring he was, how accepting of everything he was. His knowledge was unbelievable. But that was not what captured her. It was his demeanor and his steadfastness for the religion. And she just felt there was something blessed about him. And when she left that day, she knew in her heart that this was the religion that she wanted to be in. And this was because of Abuna. And Abuna had that kind of power.
My wife Kathy ما كانتش بتيجي الكنيسة هنا، ولكن عن طريق الاتصال والاحتكاك بابونا أنطونيوس ومحبتها له أصبحت تيجي الكنيسة، وأصبحت تحب أبونا أنطونيوس بطريقة فوق الوصف، لأن هو إزاي فهمها أو علمها الإنسان المسيحي بدون وعظ. يعني عن طريق محبته ليها، وعن طريق إزاي إن هو لما يشوفها يحتفل بيها ويسلم عليها ويبقى فرحان إنه يشوفها ويجي عندنا البيت يسلم علينا كانت بتبقى سعيدة جدا جدا إن تشوف في أي وقت. ودي النقطة الوحيدة اللي حاولت فكر كاسي عن الكنيسة هنا. ابتدت تيجي الكنيسة وهي فرحانة جدا، وابتدت تفتح مخها وذهنها للكنيسة الأرثوذكسية.
كان الشباب ازاي بيتعامل معاهم، وكان يحب يدرس كل حاجة كويسة جدا. البلد كان يدرس كل حاجة، يعني عشان كده كان الكل يثق جدا في رأيه ويرجع له باستمرار، لأنه كان شخصية ملمة جدا جدا ومثقفة جدا. وكلنا وأنا طبعا في المقدمة كنت أثق في رأي أبونا قوي، وأرجع له في أمور كتيرة جدا في حياتي، ولاقي دايما عنده الردود الكافية الوافية اللي فعلا والجايدنس اللي يرشدني ويشبعني.
As kids grew up, it's normal and natural to want to blend in with the culture around you. And that was a huge obstacle and a huge challenge for Abuna on how to be able to raise these kids in our church, these kids being myself included, in our church in a different culture. And I think the one thing that we learned is Abuna it had nothing to do with the Egyptian culture or the American culture or any other part of the world. As long as he was able to instill the religion in our heart, it was easy for us to grow up in any culture.
He was always urging me personally, and again, as I know he did with all everyone else, to seek and discover the depths of the personal knowledge, the personal relationship of Christ. But most of all, what stands out to me and what I hold on to and what really strengthened me was Abuna's tireless dedication to the youth.
He taught us many values that I hold very close to my heart till today, and I'm trying to instill them in my kids today.
أبونا أنطونيوس خدمة الشباب كانت مهمة جدا 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 بالنسبة له، وكان مع أولاده الخدام كان دايما بيديهم مساحة كبيرة إن هم يتصرفوا، بيديلهم مساحة كبيرة جدا إن هم يشتغلوا في الكنيسة، طبعا مع السوبرفيجن بتاعته مع الإرشاد بتاعه، وكان متحمس جدا لأي مشروع يخص الشباب، وكان أغلبية الحاجات يحبها للشباب، وكان بيتطلع إن هو يكون موجود مع الشباب في وقت، وكان بيطلع رحلات كتيرة مع الشباب، ولما كان بيعمل رحلة مصر واليونان كان بيبقى موجود مع الشباب. أبونا أنطونيوس كان هدفه الأساسي هو الشباب.
I remember in my early 20s, I'm still quite young, I was helping with the youth service here at St. Mary's. I was leading many of the activities and such. And I remember this innovative idea that Abuna Antonious had to include a representative from the youth. And again, this isn't merely a young adult or a young professional, but literally a representative from the youth to serve and represent the youth on the church board, the group that would make the critical decisions for the church and manage all the logistics of the church. And it really spoke much to his desire to really seek and understand the needs of the youth and to serve them in the most appropriate ways.
When coming to a new country is difficult for anyone. I remember when my parents came to America, it was hard for them to understand the American culture and to separate themselves from the Egyptian culture. As they raised myself and my sister, they wanted us to be close to the church, but at the same time they wanted us to follow the Egyptian culture, which is very difficult living in a different world, in a different part of the world. One of the amazing and unique things that Abuna Antonious did was that that the culture that you grew up in didn't matter. He took what was good from the Egyptian culture, he took what was good from the American culture, and any other part of the world that you happen to be from, he'll take what is good from that, combine it with our religion.
And he was probably one of very few priests who shared that understanding and vision of what we need to do for our kids. He was clearly ahead of his time in that sense, and he learned a lot from other nationalities such as the Greeks and Russians who were here before us and who have gone through a lot of these challenges. And trying to apply some of that in the Coptic Church, it was a little bit difficult because, again, we were newer here. We were still in our infancy in the United States as a people in general.
As a new community.
As a new community.
Right.
So a little bit, people were not ready for his vision at that time.
معروف إنه هو وقف كتير في العقيدة، وقف كتير في الطقس، كان في حاجات كتيرة ليه لما تيجي أوقات حاجة في الطقس غلط يبقى واقف فيها، وكانوا يقولوا ليه أبونا متمسك بالحكاية دي، لكن كان يحب لما يقرأ حاجة يتمسك بيها جامد ويقول بدام الكنيسة علمتنا كده لازم نتمسك بيها، نفهمها، وبدام فهمناها لازم نبقى متمسكين بيها.
And then when I came to Los Angeles in '83, we worked together in establishing a youth meeting because many of our children were reaching teenage. And one of the important things that he said that we should have many things in English for them. And so we worked on translation, the Igbeya, the liturgy, and then later on the Kiyak book, the Bascha book, and several other books. Also, early on when he was preaching, he would ask me to summarize his Arabic preaching in English, and I would get right after he finishes and give the summary so that the children and those who are married to foreign persons understand the meaning of the sermon.
كان الأول كان القرايات يترجمها أسبوع بأسبوع، وكان يحطها في فايلات كده بطريقة منظمة وتتوزع على الناس، وبدأ وطبعها وكان يطبعها على الناس أول بأول بعد كده. وبعد كده بدأ يترجم الكتب الطقسية. وأول واحد أبونا أنطونيوس كان عمل مشروع كبير، وحقيقة أشرك الشباب كلهم. كان أبونا دايما يعني يشوف الطاقات المختلفة ويشجعها ويوظفها. فكان أول واحد أبونا يألف أو أسف يترجم الكتاب بتاع طقس أسبوع الآلام والجمعة الكبيرة. وكنا كلنا بقى مجموعة كبيرة من الشباب والشعب نيجي عند أبونا ونقعد نسهر ونشتغل عليها يعني ليل نهار علشان نترجم، وكل واحد بقى واخد جزء، يعني اللي يترجم، اللي يطبع، اللي يقص، اللي يلزق، اللي يعني يجمع. يعني كانت مجموعة خلية عمل ضخمة جدا وبتشتغل بطاقة كبيرة وليل نهار. وأبونا طبعا تلاقيه فرحان ومتهلل وبيشجع الكل لهذا العمل.
In addition to just translating, Abuna didn't just do what most people did, is take, for example, the Arabic and translate to English. He wanted to make sure that we have the best translations possible. And as you know, a lot of our hymns are originally Greek. Most of the hymns of the church, and it's funny that when people say they want to preserve Coptic, most people don't even recognize that the majority of the congregation responses are in Greek. And I always laugh and say, because our church was very open-minded early on. When the people spoke in Greek, they allowed the congregation to respond in Greek because it's their native language, even though the priest's parts are mostly in Coptic. And this is part of the discussion I always had with Abuna Antonious, and he clearly saw the importance of having very well translated text.
Tradition, if that's our tradition in the church, not the Egyptian tradition, which it doesn't matter that much, it doesn't matter. Lakin if our tradition in the church, then we have to abide with it.
And his efforts produced the best quality multilingual documents for the church at the time. I remember working on the book for Kiyak, the book, of course, for Al-Bascha, Goma Al-Azima, Asbu Al-Alam. He definitely was very focused on a comprehensive set of tools that a church would need to have for the new generation, because at the time praying in English was still not accepted. So he at least wanted everyone to understand. So having the 3 columns at least helped. While the deacons are chanting a hymn in Coptic, people can read the meaning in English or in Arabic if they're not proficient in English. So his passion initially didn't start by praying everything in English, by the way. He was focused on maintaining the Coptic while having understanding. The Greek Orthodox Church in some cases had better English translations of those same hymns. If you, for example, look at Iparthenos that we chant during the Feast of the Nativity, word for word that hymn is, we share it with the Greek Orthodox Church. Same with Omonogenes. All of these hymns are originally Greek hymns, and they were across all churches. They were not exclusive to the Copts or the Greeks or the Russians, that they were shared among all the Christians in the early centuries. So it was great that we acknowledge that and say, well, first of all, it's wonderful to know that we're part of a bigger Orthodox community, and if they have experience because they've been here much longer and they've perfected some of these translations, why not? And Abuna was very clear on that, and he actually started a lot of dialogues with the Greeks and the Russians, which yielded a lot of value for sharing some of our experiences. And these are some of the common lessons that Abuna recognized early on. And he was pushing to have that change happen as soon as possible so we don't lose our younger generation. Because he saw the pressures that our kids were under and how they don't think the same way as people who grew up in Egypt. They need to understand. That's why Ibn Antonious was very focused on education. And he wasn't just focused on, okay, let's teach the kids hymns and bring them to church through that. That's a good way of bringing the church close to church, to the kids close to church. But what's more important is that they understand their faith. And they are in the church because they're convinced of the true faith that the church has.
Abuna Antonious was actually known for his firmness, and this became widely spread actually throughout the diocese and abroad. But if you really knew him, you couldn't help but love him. Unfortunately, there were some people that weren't able to reconcile his firmness, and he had a reason for that, because there were many inventions that were introduced to the church, such as theologically inaccurate songs, or even the use of playing the symbols in the triangle. In his research, he found that in the first church, this was never the case. Instruments were never used, and so he really outlawed it for the longest time. Or zagharit during weddings. I don't know how to say that in English, but it's how our culture expresses joy at the bonding of a bride and groom. But this is something cultural and really had nothing to do with orthodoxy, and so this was something that he really tried to keep away from the church, just to keep the sanctity of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church.
Our beloved Father Abuna Antonious Henein, we will always remember him for many things, but definitely we all remember him for his love to the church, his dedication, his love to the Orthodox faith, his love to the right of the church, and his continued fight for that. And we need this witness in our contemporary society. We need this model for people who fight for the pure Orthodox.
لكن هو يقول طب ليه الكنيسة ما ترفعش مستوى الناس والإنسان ممكن يطلع لنفس المستوى في كل حاجة. يعني مثلا الإنسان يقول إيه، طب لا أنا واخد على إن عدم النظام، وناس تقول تفتكر إن عدم النظام دي الطبيعي. ليه لأ؟ ده الهرجلة، ده ربنا بيحب الأطفال، ده ربنا بيحب. لكن صدقني كان يقول ده ربنا لما كان أشبع الجموع ده كان فيه 5000 واحد، لكن قال لا ده أنا مش هفرق 5 خبزات وسمكتين إلا لما يقعدوا بنظام وبعدين نبتدي نفرق. وده النظام اسمه الطقس، والناس تفتكر ان الطقس اللي هو النظام ضد الكنيسة، مع ان الكنيسة اللي هو النظام ده اساس الكنيسة. ده ربنا بيحب الاطفال، ده بيحبهم ويموت فيهم، لكن لما أنا أدخل الكنيسة وأعلم الطفل النظام، يبقى أنا مش ضد الكنيسة، بالعكس، ده ربنا بيموت في الأطفال لكن يعلم الأطفال إزاي تحترم الكنيسة. مع إن الناس كانت تحب أبونا وتموت فيه، مع إنه كان يقول لهم ما نتكلمش في الكنيسة، الكنيسة بتحب النظام، نقعد ساكتين في الكنيسة، وعمر ما حد زعل من أبونا. وبعدين دي مش بتاعة الكنيسة ولا أمريكا، لا، ده نظام الكنيسة، ده نظام والطقس، دي أبسط حاجة، ودي تمشي عليها في كل حاجة في الكنيسة.
ودي الحاجة المهمة اللي أبونا انتصر غرزها فينا إحنا، إن أنت لازم تعرف الكنيسة بتاعتك، ولازم تعرف العقيدة بتاعتك، ولما تعرف العقيدة بتاعتك تعرفها كويس هتساعدك إن أنت تصلي كويس وتبقى تعرف تبقى إنسان مسيحي كويس.
What brought joy to Abuna Antonious' heart is that he loved to see the young people succeed, even in a worldly way. Young professionals who did well in school and in their careers and their professions, and they were scholarly, and they received high degrees. He loved to see that, but he was always very good about reminding us that it's important to be successful spiritually, that we should invest more in the treasure of the kingdom of heaven, because this world is passing and that we can't take any of this with us, and that we should invest in the soul, where the soul is going to go in the thereafter. And so he was always happy to see us climbing the ladder of success.
كانت أكتر حاجة بتفرح قلب أبونا أنطونيوس إنه يشوف ولاده الشباب بالذات، إنه يشوف الثمرة اللي تعب فيها الولاد الصغيرين اللي رباهم وشافهم وهم صغيرين وكبروا وثابتين في الكنيسة وفضلوا لغاية ما كبروا وبقوا حلوين وبيحضروا الكنيسة وبيجوا من بدري. مش بس يلبسوا شمامسة، لأن ممكن يبقى لابس شماس ويطلع بره يبقى شكل خارجي، لكن يشوفهم ثابتين في ربنا فعلا وتايبين وعايشين مع ربنا من قلبهم وعايشين في حياة مقدسة. دي كانت فعلا بتشعره، بتفرح قلبه، بتفرح قلب ربنا. وأنا شعرة إن دلوقتي أكتر حاجة مفرحاه إن كتير من ولاده اللي رباهم من هم صغيرين، يعني هو يمكن في حياته ما شافش كتير، لكن النهاردة شايف كتير، اترسموا كهنة وكهنة مبروكين والثمرة بقت حلوة، اللي اترسموا كهنة واللي بيخدموا في حتت كتير واللي تايبين واللي عايشين حياة حلوة، حياة حلوة مع ربنا.
كنيسة السيدة العذراء في لوس أنجلوس كنيسة ولود، طلعت كهنة، طلعت خدام، طلعت شعب متمسك بإيمانه الأرثوذكسي القبطي الأرثوذكسي. دي كلها كانت ثمرة وخدمة أبونا أنطونيوس حنين.
طيب قصدك مش عاوز تضيف أي حاجة؟
لا. اصلا جايب لي كرسي متعب يا اشرف.
المرة الجاية هجيب كرسي مخصوص.
لا يا اشرف.